I die. Like Chris Benoit, flying from the top of the ladder, the crippler in the ring, in life the perfect mother. Like Anna Baker, from the high school to her bathroom, blades in her body, a bloodbath is her doom. Like in the Salò Pasolini, where the nurse couldn't stand anymore those kids humiliated by the fastest course. Like Chester from the Linkin Park, who redesigned rock with his song Numb, when he sang about not feeling anything anymore some years ago, to find himself screaming it to everyone lately but the sign in the real world. Like Martin Luther King, who reached the mountaintop, the promised land, and exactly on the following day he was shot dead. Like John Lennon, who sang about love, peace, and political commitment to the hippies and to the supporters of the Second Amendment.
You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one.
Like Lincoln, the Republican president who abolished slavery, and to thank him, he was shot in the head, forgetting his bravery. Like the daredevil judges Falcone and Borsellino, alive fighting for justice and end in the unknown. Like the Brazilian Chapecoense, who flew to the final game, but to reach that he had to take a deadly plane.
Frost said, 2 roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by. And that has made all the difference.
Like Robin Williams, oh captain, my captain, the teacher of life who made his very last moment vain. Like that 18-year-old boy in Dublin, Ireland in 2014. For 1 second he lost his buzz of death, even if it continues to get close to him. Like the people of yesterday, today and tomorrow. Like the ones that are happy and those living in sorrow. In a time of overwhelming and uncontrollable panic, the worst evil appears, a global pandemic.
Characterized as a pandemic.
Regardless of your age, origins, religion, color of your skin and sexual orientation, regardless of your bank account, your talent and relevance, regardless of your culture, outfit and appearance. Welcome to the land of opportunity. No, I'm sorry, this is just the land of fatality, where you don't love your neighbor as yourself, but you can be next to die, tomorrow or in this moment itself.
On day 1, there were 2 people, and then 4, and then 16. In 3 months, it's 1 billion. That's where we're headed.
Some of us have already gone. Others pretend to be alive just to not remain alone. But I believe that everyone died a long time ago. You can understand it by looking at the end of the road. In particular, you need to pay attention for only a few minutes, as much as it takes to let everybody know the daily number of deaths and cases. It's possible to compare the numbers of today with the ones of yesterday. You can obtain the mortality rate, avoiding the fake data along the way. Although, there's something nobody can know. Yes, this is exactly what most people cannot see anymore. The dead are far more than the ones declared. No, there is no collusion, and forget about any laboratory's nightmare. Behind these numbers, there are people in flesh and bone, forced to wave, their stories to tell, their families, and now they don't even have a grave. There are young people who just want to live forever, and elderly people who don't know the meaning of the word surrender. There are adults, babies, disabled, teenagers, athletes, couples, atheists, and believers. Their lives were taken away by the boredom of our day. By the naturalness of feeling them die, the same one with which we sleep at night. We complain about staying at home, arguing with each other, bitching about being alone. With food, the government, and it's different at all costs. With everything, but the haters have already lost. Every day, we feel sorry for ourselves. We feel abandoned and helpless. Victimhood has already become our rolling thunder. But first, we need to hate who's better than us. Yesterday Malala, today Greta Thunberg. We are God's victims because we can't go out. We have to give up on having a walk or having a drink. What are you talking about? How can we survive without football parties and birthdays? And what about us without our beloved summer holidays? Ask those who are forced to stay out every time, even when the city sleeps, because you can be sad when you have a mountain to climb. Ask those who are living day by day the situation, blowing their mind, looking for concentration. Ask those who can sleep at night and look at summer just as another season of fight. Ask the workers on the front lines, and mostly ask any doctor everywhere, all deployed in battle to free the world from the shadows of this nightmare. Most of them work in the deepest silence of the unknown. Unfortunately today, others have called you on the phone. Stop pretending to be victims because we're not. Stop speaking about sacrifices because we're doing what we want. Stop pretending to be heroes, saviors, fighters. We're just common people who complain from the comfort of their couches. Let's all try to understand what really matters. Now is the time. Too late. Listen to the update on this afternoon. I'm the victim, number 799. I lived, like Doss, in the Second World War in Okinawa, Japan. On the battlefield, he saved the lives of 70 persons without any weapon. Like Vito, who survived a deadly car accident. They told him, "You have no hope." He came back to fight in the ring to become champion of the world.
And Dr. Carter had a tear in his eye. I could tell he felt for me. And he said, "Son, I'm sorry to say you're not going to box again." And I looked at him. I said, "No, Dr. Carter, you're wrong. I am going to box again." He said, "You don't understand what kind of man I am."
Like Ranieri, Mr. Second Best, like in The Old Man and the Sea. After a long wait, he led Little Leicester to win the Premier League. Like McCain, cancer patient, still suffering after his recovery. He came back to Senate, and with an unpopular vote, he saved his country, proving his bravery.
That the prognosis is very, very serious.
Like Morricone, 90 years old and still on tour, he's so inspirational, expressing all his emotions to make his music eternal. Like Freddie Mercury, while he was struggling with AIDS, he set the world on fire, dominating the whole Live Aid. Like Parasite, the intense and controversial Oriental work of art that made history at the Academy Awards that have always had an Occidental heart.
And the Oscar goes to Parasite.
Like Goldberg, former wrestler, who came back 30 years after his retirement. He won the world title to become his son's hero, his greatest accomplishment. Like John Paul II, who a few hours before saying goodbye to life, he celebrates holy masses with people, because fearless will never die. Like that grandpa who lives for almost a century like a young kid, because he has got his dead son in his heart and the love of the ones who are not close to him. Like Jobs, who was so young when he dropped out from university to make the art of changing the world his own specialty.
When you grow up, you tend to get told that the world is the way it is, and your life is just to live your life inside the world, try not to bash into the walls too much, try to have a nice family life, have fun, save a little money. That's a very limited life. Life can be much broader once you discover one simple fact, and that is everything around you that you call life was made up by people that were no smarter than you. And you can change it. You can influence it. You can build your own things that other people can use. Once you learn that, you'll never be the same again.
Like Dr. Shirley, a black man who played for white people in America when it was racist, because it takes courage to change people's hearts, not just the others.
Anyone can sound like Beethoven. But your music, what you do, only you can do that.
Like the old Churchill, forced to give up to the Nazis, inglorious bastard. He carried Europe on his shoulders, and with his England, he let the world look forward.
We shall fight on the beaches. We shall fight on the landing grounds. We shall fight in the fields and in the streets. We shall fight in the hills. We shall never surrender!
Like those who choose life, with all the roadblocks thrown in the race, failures, accomplishments, always trying to make the most of our days. It seems taken for granted, but unfortunately that's not true. Just take a look at most of the people around you. Now it's time to sow and to build, because soon this new coronavirus will be killed.
I went to the woods because I wanted to live deliberately. I wanted to live deep and suck out all the marrow of life.
I'll second that.
To put to rout all that was not life, and not when I had come to die, discover that I had not lived.
Tomorrow there will be no time for pauses for reflection. Today, choose life. I hope everyone has learned a lesson.
Thank you, boys.